Welcome aboard. Day 2 of the draft, officially a matter of record. Joe Musso alongside draft experts and insiders, Ryan Wilson and Rick Spielman, with rounds 2 and 3 come and gone. Our guys diving into the latest storylines out of the day. We begin following 2 day 1 trades. The Bills and their fans left to sleep on some angst, but don't sleep on this kid. With the first pick of the second round, Buffalo bolstering a near-empty receiver room with Florida State wideout Keon Coleman. And I guess in the age of the forward pass, you can never have too many. One pick later, the Rembrandt of route running, Ladd McConkey, will offer further works of art down in L.A. as Jim Harbaugh rebuilds an offense in his image. And after 46 picks, finally, with love for the RBs, Texas's Jonathan Brooks joining an upstart offense in Carolina, looking for any and all help it can get. Respect the run game. You know we do. Our fellas respecting all of these talents, and respect to you two gentlemen for putting in all the hard work to let us know a little something about these guys. Keon Coleman is a guy that we know plenty about, really shined in moments throughout his career at Florida State. But Ryan, what excites you most about that marriage with Josh Allen in Buffalo?
He's a different type receiver, Rick, than a Ladd McConkey had they decided to go in that direction, because they have Curtis Samuel, they have Khalil Shakir, they lost Stephon Diggs, he's now in Houston, Gabe Davis is also gone, so I think he provides Gabe Davis 2.0 with a little more upside. He's incredibly young, just turned 21, he hasn't played football a lot, he's a basketball player, transferred from Michigan State, and I think he gives Josh Allen that big play threat down the field. Rick, he ran the 4.61, but we've talked about it for weeks now. He plays much faster than that, and I think his best football is going to be ahead of him.
Yeah, no, they needed an outside receiver, and this guy's going to fill the bill there. He's a vertical threat down the field. He may not run fast at 40, but his play speed is totally different when you watch him on tape. He does an excellent job going up and jump balls in 50-50 situations, and he'll be a big red zone threat.
Yeah, some interesting splits there. Speed prior to pass, speed post ball in the air. When that thing's up there, Keon Coleman gets an eye for it, and he gets an extra gear to go get it. Last year, first pick of the second round, Joey Porter Jr., we saw how much production that spelled for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's stay right there in Pittsburgh, prioritizing, a glaring weakness in the offensive line. 2 picks, 2 linemen. What's that tell you about the action plan for Mr. Unlimited?
Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, is gone. They've added Arthur Smith, who was a fantastic run game coordinator and OC in Tennessee, where they had Derrick Henry, where they had Ryan Tannehill. Both those players were a big part of that offense, and I think that's the game plan, Rick, going to Pittsburgh with now Russell Wilson and maybe Justin Fields. You get the offensive line help Troy Fautanu in round 1. You circle back at the center help Zach Frazier down the street in West Virginia. And then in the third round, you get Roman Wilson, and you keep it in the Wilson family. You get linebacker Peyton Wilson of NC State near the bottom of round 3. It's hard to be too upset about this if you're a Steelers fan. Peyton Wilson does have an injury history. He is older, but that's probably why he almost lasted to the end of day 2 here.
What would give him an A++ if they draft Ryan Wilson?
That's it. Keep the phone close here, but offensive line obviously the focal point early on here for those Pittsburgh Steelers. Running backs, unfortunately, not the focal point anymore in today's NFL. With Jonathan Brooks first off the board to Carolina, it was the second longest wait for a running back to come off the board in the common draft era. Sort of like the old adage, if you're down 4 scores, it's going to take more than 1 possession. Carolina really playing from behind as it pertains to roster building right now. Is that a big enough bite at 46, Rick?
Yeah, I think it was more just the talent at the running back this year. Last year, we saw 2 guys go in the top 10 or top 12 when Gibbs and Bijan Robinson went. So, and then, Joe, just to correct you, this year, running backs actually made some money into the free agent market.
Yeah.
So with
Certainly
Josh
did.
Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. So I'm going to disagree with you on your opinion there. But I will tell you this, that the running backs that are going to play here in the second and third round that people are taking, they'll be major contributors to these teams.
Price and production, 2 different things. We'll see if those elder statesmen can come up with that sort of production for their respective teams. I value the running back position. I certainly do. But the meeting between, or the intersection between pick, value, and production in today's NFL, I mean, you know better than most.
I just took, because I took running backs all the time, so I've got a fond loving for running backs.
We saw heavy skew towards quarterback, wide receiver early in this draft. What can you tell us about Brooks and what he might mean to the maturation of his quarterback?
Oh, so he's going to Carolina, and Rick, you know, we've talked about this before, even earlier tonight. coming off the ACL injury. That impacted his draft stock to some degree, but he still was the first running back taken. So to your point previously, no Bijan, no Jahmyr Gibbs here, but he was still running back 1. And I think what he brings is a little juice that certainly Carolina has not had in that backfield for some time. And Bryce Young has to be incredibly excited about that, because last year was tough to watch in terms of the lack of consistency in the run game, and certainly no one was getting open on the outside. They got Xavier Legette as well at the bottom of round 1 to provide some explosiveness outside. So I think it makes a lot of sense, even as we talk, running backs are being undervalued in this draft class. It's certainly a need, and I don't mind at 46 targeting that need for Bryce Young.
Yeah, and new head coach Dave Canales loves to run the ball because it sets up the play-action pass, which will help Bryce Young develop compared to what we saw last year in his rookie season. So if you can marry up a very good run game, that's going to set up the play-action pass. Look what he did for Baker Mayfield last year in Tampa.
Yeah, step in the right direction there for that offense. The storyline out of day 1, certainly 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks. Nonsense. Give me the when and the where for Spencer Rattler as we look towards day 3.
Tough day for me, Rick, because Spencer Rattler remains out there. He's been a favorite of mine going back to the start of the season. No one tougher, pound for pound. Undersized, big arm, didn't run well at the combine, but he's a better athlete than we give him credit for. And you can see here, Spencer Rattler, Michael Pratt, I thought I had convinced Rick that both those guys could go on day 2. They're still waiting for the phone to ring. Jordan Travis had the injury, and I think the thinking there is, which team is going to be interested in trying to get one of these quarterbacks? Because, Rick, right now, these are all developmental guys, and it's going to be similar to what we saw last year with the Clayton Tunes, the Aiden O'Connells that come off at this point in the process.
Yeah, and those guys are going to be gone by the 4th or 5th round, because those are 2 next. But after that, there's another drop-off, unless you want to go with Milton from Tennessee, who may have the biggest arm. And Travis Jordan, who we talked about from Florida State, knows how to play the position. He's coming off an injury. Good athlete, but not overly physically talented.
By the way, fun fact, Gus Bradley's son, Carter Bradley's in this draft out of South Alabama. Great Senior Bowl, didn't get a combine invite. That's just something how those things go. I'll be interested to see if he gets drafted, because he held his own. Do you think he might?
Yeah, he might get drafted late, but the one thing I know with quarterbacks is that if you don't get drafted, it's almost better if you're, instead of getting selected in the 7th round, you're going to make a lot more money if you're a college free agent, because everybody's going to be coming after you.
And you can go to the team that maybe best fits your interests according to the roster, right?
It's the hang tight. We're calling you right after this thing finishes up.
Please don't draft me in the 7th round, because I'm going to get a lot more money as a college free agent.
We will see how the quarterback market maturates from here, but I'm not sure if you guys heard, Michigan was pretty good last year.
What?
We saw some Wolverines flying off the board in round 2. What stands out to you about the talent here? Obviously, we do see J.J. McCarthy in that first round selection, and then 2s and 3s on day 2, Ryan. What's the headline here?
The headline for me, because Rick and I have a bet on with the first pick, that Jim Harbaugh, now the Chargers coach, former Michigan coach, would have taken at least 3 Michigan players by the end of the draft. So far, Rick, I feel pretty good. There's only one player, Junior Colson, who's a fantastic player and probably got great value in the 3rd round. I love that. And, of course, I love the idea of Blake Corum going to the Rams team, where we saw Kyron Williams had a ton of success there in the backfield. And then, of course, Roman Wilson in the slot for the Steelers, a need there in Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah, and Zach Zinner, that last name that you saw in there, would probably went higher if he didn't break his leg. So this is a very good Michigan football team. There's no really blue chip Pro Bowl type players, but all these guys are going to end up going to a team. They're end up going to make the team. They're end up going to be either really solid starters or contributors to help their teams win.
Is J.J. McCarthy a Pro Bowler type for day 1, though?
I don't know. We'll see.
It's got a heck of a wide receiver there. Who's responsible for that? Diamonds in the rough remain. I got a couple gems with me right here. Thank you, gentlemen. You know, you can get all your draft needs met in one place. It's with the first pick. Nobody's doing it like we do it. Our guys, Ryan Wilson, Rick Spielman, all year long, chewing on the tape, bringing you the latest news and notes across the draft world. Just one day remains at the draft. Download, subscribe, and enjoy with the first pick. Plenty more coming on CBS Sports HQ. We delve into the big winners and losers from day 2. Plus, look forward to the best available. It's all coming next on CBS Sports HQ. Back on CBS Sports HQ as our draft coverage continues. The Commanders gifting their QB Jaden Daniels a new weapon in round 2, selecting tight end Ben Sinnott at pick 53. Sinnott was Ryan Wilson's second-rated tight end prospect, behind only Brock Bowers of Georgia. We tell you all that because of this. Here to talk winners and losers. Ryan, I feel like we've showed our hand a bit here. Your biggest winner is who?
Oh, it's Washington Commanders, and it felt like, Rick, they just hit home run after home run. Started at the top on Thursday with Jaden Daniels, then they came back and got first-round talents in Johnny Newton, the defensive tackle, and Mikey Sanders, still the nickel out of Michigan. And then my guy Ben Sinnott, who you may have been higher on than me, but this is my time to shine. Brandon Coleman, an offensive tackle at TCU, who you liked a little more than me as well. The list goes on, and they finally finished things up, and they had 6 picks in 7 picks. 6 it is in the first 2 days, and the last one was Christian McCaffrey's brother, Luke McCaffrey. Great bloodline. Sort of surprising that he went this early, but clearly Washington liked him enough to take him.
Yeah, and I know Adam Peters very well. And the one thing that he does is he was in San Francisco, he was in Denver when they won a Super Bowl, he was in New England when he won a Super Bowl, so I have no doubt he's going to pick very good football players. Dan Quinn is the right leader for that organization. He'll take these guys and make them even better, so I thought they knocked it out of the park as well.
It's not always you can see the clear plan in place. There appears to be one right now in Washington. Your biggest winner?
My biggest winner?
Your biggest winner.
Who do you think it is?
It was Minnesota yesterday. You going back to the well?
It is the Michigan Wolverines.
There you go.
They have a trophy in front of the gymnasium, national championship trophy. They got a ring on their finger. And these guys are just good football players. They may not be 5-star guys or they're going to be Pro Bowlers, but they're going to come in. They're going to really help a football team win games in whatever role they carve out for each other. But Jim Harbaugh did a great job developing these guys. Their sound technique, they're ready to jump into the NFL, and they'll be major contributors right off the bat in their rookie year.
Almost a ring for everyone drafted here in rounds 2 and 3. You see, they got 4 rings for winning the national title: a Rose Bowl ring, a championship ring, a Big Ten ring, a ring doorbell camera. I don't know.
Oh, nice. There we go.
We got a biggest loser to get to as well. Maybe it's me after that Rick Spielman dad joke. I've been hanging around him too long.
Yeah.
Ryan, your biggest loser.
It does rub off on you, so be wary. Do not get too close to Rick Spielman. I don't like to call these losers because we don't have any idea.
Everybody's a winner.
We're all winners, and Pete Prisco.
Relative loser.
I get it. Pete Prisco, our buddy, and Rick Spielman make fun of me because I do love everyone throughout the draft process. But Patriots nailed it with Drake May, no doubt about it. They had to take him third overall. And then, Rick, I was a little wary about the Jalen Polk pick. You see the T there. They traded down. Ladd McConkey was still there. They played different positions. I understand that. But the Patriots' track record of drafting in the second round has not been stellar in recent years, even going back to 2006 where they took Chad Jackson out of Florida, and most recently Tyquan Thornton has battled injuries. And then they came back in round 3, and they got Caden Wallace, the right tackle, out of Penn State, and I understand that, and he's going to be penciled in probably to earn that starting job. I just wonder if they could have reshuffled that, either taking Ladd McConkey the second or targeting offensive tackle there and then figuring out the other position later. So I didn't love what they did. I loved the Drake May pick, but beyond that, I thought they left some meat on the bone, so to speak. Yeah,
there were a couple guys that we had and you had higher on your board that you would have taken before some of these guys. But let's give Elliott Wolf a pass on his first draft, and let's see how they develop, because him and there's a whole new regime up there in New England, so they do have a quarterback of the future. Let's see how these other guys pan out.
Rick, I'm not sure if you're comfortable calling them losers, but your team relative to success furthest from is who?
Thank you. That's all you had to say.
You just gotta be convoluted about it, I guess.
I think my biggest losers were the quarterbacks that weren't drafted above number 12. 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks, but nothing day 2. I know, Ryan, that's disappointing for you. You've lost a lot of money to me, the $2 over this Friday night draft. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think a lot of those guys will go early 4th, 5th round. But any type of quarterback, if you didn't get drafted in the top 6, you fell way down the draft board.
We will certainly see what happens in the day to come, and that's exactly where we're heading next. Best available on the board. Our fellas run it through it all here on CBS Sports HQ.